We've had no word from the Israeli side since it has been confirmed that that is the UN headquarters on fire in Gaza City. A little earlier on, when we heard from the United Nations Rights and Works Agency, UNRWA, that there was fighting in the vicinity and they were calling the Israelis to end this fighting. We did hear from Israeli military sources confirming that there was heavy fighting against militants in that particular area near the compound in Gaza City. We're also hearing that a media building in Gaza City has been hit. The Foreign Press Association confirming the building has been hit. It houses Reuters news agency, saying all its staff are okay, but 2 Abu Dhabi television employees have been injured and taken to hospital. And the Foreign Press Association quotes the employees within this building as saying that there were bullets entering the windows of that building as heavy fighting was raging just outside. And the Foreign Press Association calling on both sides to halt the fighting in that area immediately. Dom?
Paula, John was talking about the fact that these are phosphorus fires burning at the United Nations compound. What is the Israeli military stance on the use of phosphorus in Gaza?
Well, the Israeli military has been, an Israeli government spokesman has been asked about this on a number of occasions and has said that Israel complies with international law. Now, of course, to use white phosphorus in a battlefield in an open area, it provides cover for soldiers and is not illegal under international law. But of course, using it somewhere which is densely populated, as Gaza is, will cause problems. Now, the Israeli military not admitting that it is using white phosphorus, just saying that it is complying with international laws and using the same weaponry that the likes of NATO and the UK and the US Army would use as well. So certainly it is a bone of contention. The fact that we've heard from Human Rights Watch, who believe that white phosphorus has been used in very densely populated areas. And of course, in an open area, there would not be so much of a problem. But if it is being used in this densely populated area, it can cause burns to civilians. And you can see John Ging believes that it was white phosphorus that actually caused partly the fire in the headquarters and in the warehouses. It is very easily ignitable.
And as John was saying, there's a lot of extremely valuable supplies that are now ablaze in the United Nations warehouse. That clearly is very bad news for the people in Gaza who are so desperately in need of those supplies. What word do we have on the civilians in Gaza in general as we are approaching a full 3 weeks of the trouble there?
Well, to try and put it into context, in normal times, about 50% of the Gazan population of 1.5 million residents would rely on UNRWA to give them some kind of food aid. 1 million rely on aid agencies for some kind of humanitarian assistance, but these aren't normal times. It's likely that the vast majority, if not everyone in the Gaza Strip, needs some kind of assistance at this point. And certainly some areas where there has been heavy fighting, where the food distribution has not been able to get through, they need food, they need fresh running water, there's very little electricity. And certainly this is a devastating blow for 1.5 million residents. Every day we've had a 3-hour lull over the past several days that Israel has called for a humanitarian corridor to be able to get trucks of aid into Gaza and to allow the aid agencies to distribute this aid. Aid agencies, including UNRWA, have said repeatedly 3 hours is not enough. Logistically, it is impossible to try and distribute this aid in just 3 hours to get the staff where they're needed. And of course, often this lull has been interspersed with fighting, heavy fighting at times, with explosions, with rockets coming into Israel. And the UN itself had to suspend its activities at one point last week because it said it was coming under fire, and it did not believe that the Israelis were able to safeguard its staff as they were trying to distribute aid. So certainly there would be more aid than normal in that warehouse, because there were a couple of days where the UN was just simply not able to get the aid to the people who need it. So certainly it's a huge blow.